Hello, hello, hello. So today we're gonna be going over with SAT score the top 5 most pay-to-win ships in World of Warships. So with some of the more recent ship additions, we thought it'd be finally time to go over the most pay-to-win ships in World of Warships. This is gonna be including ships that originally were not viable. You could get them for free, and over time they did from Santa containers. So right now, the ships we're going to talk about are ships that are purely able to get got from the Santa containers, or you can get them now, or they're no longer available. So number 5, there's going to be 5 on this list and honorable mention. Number 5 is going to be the Cesare. The tier 5 monstrosity cruiser dev striker Italian meatball throwing machine. Yeah, this thing still to this day one of the most powerful premiums tier for tier in the game. Absolutely insane, very accurate, great maneuverability, great guns, just an absolute menace. What are your thoughts on this ship, SAT?
She was one of the first overpowered, well, not first, second set of overpowered premiums that Wargaming released. Like it's already hard enough to survive as a cruiser at tier 5, tier 6, and even tier 7. And then you add this thing, and you're like, how do I, if you even survive as salvos, like, how do I kill it? Because it's so hard to hit. Like,
Yeah.
it's so bad that Wargaming actually they did two things. One, they tried to introduce a tier 6 version of her initially by literally just putting her at tier 6 with some slight armor increases. Players didn't like it because it meant their overpowered ship got removed. So Wargaming did away with that. The second time, they just simply rebranded it. They just renamed it and released it at tier 6, and literally, and you can get it right now. It's called a Novus or
Yeah, it is
Novus.
absolutely horrible. It's the nerfed version of what the Caesar was. They didn't just change the armor, they changed like something with the guns as well. So it's legit just a worse Caesar, which is crazy.
Yep. So that's why you pretty much can't get the ship anymore. Because tier 5, if you just want to go seal clubbing, it is just so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. All right. So the next ship is also going to be a battleship. And again, if you guys have any of your own pay-to-win ships do you think that should be on this list, definitely write them down in the comments. But next one, you are able to get from Santa containers. Caesar you can get from Santa containers as well. This ship is the Lenin. This ship could legit be a tier 9, almost a tier 10, and it could still do really well. The ship's guns, the 406 millimeters, they are really accurate, have a nice reload as well, but it also serves as an extra armor piece on the deck because you have a 45 millimeter armor, which is good for helping against HE spam, right? You have a 32 millimeter bow, which is really good at tier 8, and an armored section at the bow. It's 100 millimeters, by the way. Not just overkill. It's 100 millimeters, and it has a very thick citadel section as well, and armor plating on the side. So if you're angling like I'm showing now, like on the side here, and you're trying to use all your guns, it's gonna be very hard to pen you. It's such a big, flat, armored section that's really hard to damage the ship. And HE throwers can only really damage you at the superstructure, and that thing is so small. So a lot of the time when you're fighting this ship, you're fighting at it where it's angled like this or just straight bow in, and it's such a small area to hit that you're going to be doing very little damage to it. So a lot of the time, the best way to kill this ship is just to set fires, because it doesn't have unlimited damage control party, so you can burn it out just by forcing it to use its damn control party over and over again. So it's like the only way to kill it. This thing is an absolute menace in randoms, absolute menace in ranked. In brawls, it's still great, but a lot of the torpedo battles was just W at you and then drive by you with their torps. Overall, absolute menace to the game, and that's why they removed it from the premium shop and just put it into the Santa containers. So the only way to get it is to gamble for it. So people will spend thousands to try to get ships like this and the stands and containers. What are your thoughts on this ship SAT?
Before they introduced ships like uh, before like Iparanga, like Lenin just absolutely dominated ranked. If you had the Lenin and you just want to play ranked on easy mode, you just take her out. You don't need to think. You just point your bow, shoot at whatever, shoot at whatever thing shows broadside, and then survive for like 10 years. And
Mm-hmm.
she also trivialized. She also kind of wrecked the first instance of Tier 8 clan battles because if you didn't have a Lenin, you couldn't really. You basically were at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, I remember that
Like
season.
literally
That was a
super
very,
unkillable.
very interesting season. But yeah, Lenin's
Uh,
definitely is number 4 on this list. So you guys are kind of getting the feel of how broken the most payest ships are going to be. So moving on, the next one is going to be a tier 10. It's going to be the destroyer hunting machine, the Smalland. And there's nothing like, even though the Smalland is small, it is absolute menace in World of Warships nowadays. It's a menace in randoms, it's a menace in clan battles when it's allowed, it's a menace in ranked. It's just a menace everywhere. The ship has a lot of utility. It has an engine boost that boosts its speed by 30%. It has a heal. It has a 7.5 kilometer radar, which helps it be able to hunt destroyers very well. Has a very strong concealment of 6.1 kilometers, very maneuverable, and when that engine boost is active, it can stop and go on a dime. Very easy to be able to throttle dude shots from a battleship, cruiser, DD, you name it. It can do a really good job at dodging. Has good anti-air as well. Depth charges are like the only thing that isn't like great. It's because they launch off the bow, so it can be kind of difficult sometimes to hit a sub with those, but if you're running after it, it can definitely do it. It has good torpedoes as well, 12 kilometers. So this thing is very versatile, very strong guns as well. As 4 of them with the 1.5 second reload. The DPM, very, very high, and it has good health as well. And I'll let SAT Score explain why in clan battles this thing is a monster, or why it was.
Overnight, on release, Smallnet essentially made all other destroyers obsolete. No one could compete with her cap-taking capabilities. She had the speed boost, she had the radar, and even had a heal. So you couldn't take with any other destroyers because you just get radared out or just outspotted.
Yep.
It was like it was, as I said, mandatory to have a small one if you want to play destroyers in clan battles. And this persisted for a long time until other EU destroyers came in, like the Ragnar and then the Holland, then the G-Dance.
Yep.
But even then, even though these two ships, even though Smallnet has been pushed out of like the top tier clan battles, she's still a very strong pick in like in the even Storm or higher.
Mm-hmm.
So, and whenever there's a restriction or ban list, Smallnet quickly makes that list. It got so bad that Wargaming ran like a Christmas competition. Basically, players would submit like one ship they wanted to have for their Christmas, and of course, whoever got lucky would receive it. The number one most requested ship was, of course, Smallland.
Yeah, that's I'm not surprised on that one at all.
It wasn't even close. Like she is that broken of a ship. If you want to go super sweaty try hard div in randoms, you take Smalla because she does destroyer stuff while making sure no one else can do destroyer stuff. And once she's done with that, she can still gun down most other ships.
Mm-hmm.
And she also has a respectable torpedo complement. It's only 2 torps less than the Holland. That's how good it is.
Yeah, so it has pretty much all upsides and no downsides, which is why this ship is one
Well,
of the most wanted.
The only downside is that there's no smoked, but you can dodge to a certain extent. You're
Mm-hmm.
essentially only limited by skill. So if you're somewhat experienced in destroyer gameplay, Smallland is really only countered by like the most dedicated CV players, and then like and then some radar ships. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. So, Smallland makes number 3 on the list. So, we're now on to number 2 of the most pay-to-win ships in World of Warships. And it has to be the most recent addition of Tier 9s, the Valparaiso. This absolute broken ship. Let's just do a little explanation here, okay? So this is a Vanguard, right? Vanguard doesn't have the best armor for tier 8s. Like, it's okay armor. 32 bow, 32 aft, with a deck armor of 40. The main thing is that you have to show a lot of broadside to use both, like, use the rear and the front guns, right? You have to show a lot of broadside. So this thing's strength isn't that. And it doesn't have the most secondaries either. They did buff them on this ship. They do have a 2-second reload. But the main thing is that the secondaries aren't very strong. The guns aren't very strong. But what makes it very strong is this little combination of the super heal and the consumable operational readiness. So, as you can see here, I have it pulled on the screen. Every time a secondary shell hits an enemy ship, it loads this consumable, the combat structure by 8%. If you get a kill with this ship while you're playing, you get 100% filled instantly. And when this combat structure is active, you get a 95% reload buff to your damage control party and your heal. Which means that when this is active for the 5 seconds, you get your you get your heal and your damage control party back within 4 seconds. Which a lot of people just don't. You get your heal that heals 20,000 health back in 4 seconds. And the thing is, and you can keep doing this over and over and over again. You have 7 heals, and you can get a maximum of 8 when you run the improved repair party. And so that means you don't have to take really any kind of survivability, like fire prevention or concealment. You really don't have to take that. Like, if you want to take, like, the ship consumable modification, I thought about running that for the extra 10% for, like, the longer heal. Because, like, 10%, like, it heals, like, 20,000. So imagine making it 10% longer. We get, like, a 22,000 heal. So technically, you could, in theory, get a little bit more. But it's nice to get that, like, dispersion slightly being worse on enemy ships. So I just still took concealment on it. But overall, this ship can tank as much as a Conqueror. The maximum you can heal with this build anyway is a total of 250,000 damage done to you. Not potential, but it's damage done to you. So it can tank as much as a Conqueror can at tier 9. And it can get that heal back instantly. It gets, SAT, I'll let you explain the heal a little bit more. What are your thoughts on this ship? The ship was just released about a month ago, 2 months ago, in a limited time event where you had to, like, gamble for it or buy it in a bundle for like 140 bucks. But if this thing was allowed to release in clan battles, I think it would become a meta clan battle ship instantly.
Easy.
And it just dominates ranked and brawls and the unbreakable line. It just dominated. It just, you legit could just sit there and tank the whole team and not die. they can't kill you because you just keep healing back all the health. It's legit. It is legit what people that just W and Brawl want. A ship that doesn't die. You legit will not be on fire at all, and you won't be flooding at all because you can keep your damage control party active the whole time. And you can keep your heals going until they're out. And of course, the secondaries are 12 kilometers, right? So the main
Yep.
weakness of this ship is the fact that if you aren't pushing in and being aggressive, you're not going to get your heal back quickly, and you're not going to get your damage control party back quickly. So you will get killed quickly. So that's the main weakness of the ship. You have to either W in, be really aggressive to where you're able to get your combat stratagem active. But if you don't, you get melted out. So if you're fighting against one of these, you have to just run away from it, or you have to nuke it before it can get that heal up, or you nuke it with torpedoes. But I'll let SAT Score say his opinion on the ship.
So the reason why the Valparaiso works is due to how the heals are done. So she starts with 6 repair parties, but it can go up to 8 with the right build.
Yep.
But it's kind of like a fast-acting super heal. It only takes a couple of seconds to heal 20% of the ship.
Yep.
And Bo already explained the combat instructions, but if you get into secondary range, that gets filled up almost instantly. So then essentially you negate that cooldown time whenever you activate it. It also applies to your it also applies to your damage control party.
Yep.
So you can instantly DCP fires and just heal up any extra damage. Now, that all itself would be doable, but there's one other special thing that Valparaiso has, is that how much she's allowed to repair. So your typical battleship, she can repair 50% of all direct pen damage, like AP, HE. Does not count fires or floods because those are 100%. So let's take, for example, Frederick de Grossa. So typical 50% repair of all penetration damage, and 10% of citadel repair. That's pretty normal for battleships. So over the course of the game, so even though you can't, if you take a lot of penetration damage, which is pretty normal for a battleship, once you get to your last couple of heals, it just isn't much to repair because you've taken so much unrepairable damage.
Yeah, exactly.
But go to Valparaiso, you have an 85% coefficient, which means you can heal 85% of all damage taken. That's not a citadel hit, of course. Citadel repair is also pretty significantly boosted. Normally it's 10% for battleships, but Valparaiso can heal up 1/3 instead. So with that, combined with an improved rudder shift time and reasonably good top speed and good acceleration, means she can dodge pretty well, evade most torpedoes, and as long as she gets into secondary range, she just keeps healing back almost everything. That's how ridiculous she is. So most ships, their only choice is just to simply run away. And if you don't run away, well, you just made Valparaiso a god, because he will just constantly keep out-repairing your DPM, which is ridiculous. In ranked, that basically means Valparaiso presses W, and either you get lucky and nuke it with a torpedo, or you run away and you give up the caps for free. And there's no way you can get back in time because Valparaiso will just keep Wing at you. So because of that, she's just a ridiculous pay-to-win ship. Just absolutely breaks ranked just because of her very simple gameplay. Just press W and win. Like, that's not even... Most secondary ships don't even get that bad. Like, this is... Like, not even John Bott or... No, the Musashi or Georgia is that bad, because at least it requires some skill to pull off correctly. Valparaiso? No, just press W.
Yep, it is absolutely crazy. So that is our number 2. Before we go to number 1, we're gonna do an honorable mention. So the honorable mention is going to be one of the oldest ships in the game, one of the oldest premiums. It is the Nikolai. So the Nikolai, some of you guys may remember this camo from a certain Halloween mode. Yep, it is the legendary Rasputin. Legendary from the Halloween Transylvania operation, usually up during Halloween. This is the camo for it, and it is the legendary Nikolai that the ship is. But yes, this ship is an absolute monstrosity for a tier 4. It doesn't have any, it doesn't have very good anti-air, which is whatever. But it has, look at how much armor, 100 millimeter bow, 200 armor right behind it, and a midsection of 270. This thing is an absolute tank for tier 4, by the way. It has more armor than even some tier 5s and 6s. It's just such an absolute behemoth of a battleship. It has a heal, a damage control, has HE and AP, has 44,000 health, which is good for the tier. 305 millimeter guns. They has 12 of them. And you can have 3 firing off the bow at a time, so off the front, because of how they are positioned in the middle. And if you're cutting away, it's a little bit more difficult to do it, so it's better to be more bow in when you attack, because if you're cutting away, it's gonna be hard to get all your guns going. But this thing, like the Cesare, dominates tier 4. Like the Cesare dominates tier 5, right? The Nikolai dominates tier 4, dev striking cruisers, punishing heavily damaging battleships, nuking destroyers with its HE. It is an absolute monster. You can still get it in Santa Games to this day. It is definitely one of the rarest. It's one of the rarest premiums. It's not very common you see them at all.
I actually don't think they put it in Santa crates anymore.
Oh, it's not? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's only tier 5 to tier 10 if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah,
So
you're
that
right,
pretty
you're
much
right.
means
So you can
she
no
cannot
longer
be
get it.
obtained.
Yeah, you can no longer get her then. My bad. So if you have her, great. If you don't, then unfortunately you missed out. But
Yeah.
this is our
So,
honorable mention.
the reason why she's honorable is because after they sold her for about a week and then pulled it.
Yep.
So pretty much she still can dominate tier 4, but the issue is it's tier 4. You're going to be fighting bots, and most other ships can dominate just fine against bots.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just not really relevant anymore.
Yep, unfortunate. So, number 1 is our most pay-to-win ship in World of Warships. And funny enough, there are 3 versions of this ship.
4.
Oh, 4. It is the...
well, there used to be 4.
Yeah, the Kamikaze, the Kamikaze R, and the Fusion. It's mostly the Kamikaze and the Kamikaze R. Now, let's do a little bit of backstory on the Kamikaze. Kamikaze has one of the best destroyer concealments in the game, right? So we're going off of that. Its guns are not the best. They're okay. They're not like, it's tier 5, right? No, they're not supposed to be very good. But what makes it really good is that it has 6 torpedoes with 3 launchers. And when you build into them, it has a very quick reload. Like right now it's 47 seconds, but you can build it quicker than that. SAT help, like what's the reload for the Kamikazes when they're built?
I got it down to about 40, between 40 and 45. But
Yes.
anyways, the guns are actually surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm. So for tier 5, having about a 40-second reload on 6 torps, and these torpedoes also hit very hard for tier 5 with 14,400. They're hard-hitting torps for the tier, very fast reload, and you're also in a tier where battleships are very slow, and they're not very maneuverable. So you're most guaranteed to hit torps on any battleship that's around, and battleships are very much plentiful at tier 5. And even with cruisers, if you miss, you have 40 seconds until your next set. So a lot of the time what people do that play this ship a lot, they do torps in like a 15-second sequence. So they launch one torpedo set, and then they launch another one 15 seconds later, then another one 15 seconds later. So you're sending torpedoes every 16 seconds at a target, which means that if you hit a torp and then they flood and they damage control party, you can then, by the time that your next torpedo set will hit, you'll most likely cause another flood because their damage control party will be done. Because at tier 5, damage control parties are really short. So it's an absolute monster of a ship at tier 5. It's only available in Santa containers. That's why it's number 1 on the list, because it is by far the most pay-to-win ship at the tier. Like, tier for tier, this is the most broken. The Val that we just talked about, very close to being number 1, but the Kamikaze still beats it for being number 1. But yeah, what do you think about what is your final thoughts on this list, SAT?
Kamikaze edges in at number 1 because she has that longevity. She's been broken ever since World of Warships started.
Yep.
And she continues to be just as broken 8 years later.
Yep.
That you cannot say of many other ships that we considered for this list.
Yep, for sure. But yeah.
Like 5.4 concealment, still, like, even though she has no AA, she could still just run up to CVs because most of them don't really know what they're doing, unfortunately. And you can easily slot in a 21-point captain in a tier where a good amount of people may not even have 10-point captains. So it is literally the most seal clubby tier 5 you can imagine.
Yep, it is for sure. Well, that is going to be it for today's video. If you guys have your own most pay-to-win ships in World of Warships, let us know in the comments down below. Make sure, and thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Deuces.